Hey guys, Professor Bell of Comic Book University, another Nerdarchy takeover. We're going to be talking about a whole bunch of cool stuff. We're going to be doing a whole lot of Thor up in here, all right? So let's get started with the God of Thunder himself. Guys, not too hard, and I think you know exactly where I'm going to go with this. I'm looking very simply at making Thor a half storm giant, half dwarf. You might be thinking, well, why not a half human? You know why I'm going to pick half dwarf. We need to shrink him down because storm giants are way too effing tall, all right? So we're going to bring that little sucker down. He could really use the +2 con and +2 strength bonus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, mountain dwarf. I mean, come on. Should probably make Dave happy, right? The master race. But definitely make him a storm giant. And quite literally, every single thing that these guys have, I would absolutely do that for him. All of the innate spellcasting abilities and everything. Look, he's got the using the charisma for that. Absolutely, why not? He's a very charismatic guy. It can initially cast, at will, detect magic, feather fall. Maybe not feather fall, but levitate. Yes, absolutely. Light 3 times a day, control weather, and water breathing. And hell, I'm gonna. Oh, actually, no. Sorry, it's already got down here. Lightning strike. He's also got lightning strike with a recharge of 5 or 6. Yes, absolutely, exactly like that's in there. You know what I'm saying? You can do feather fall if you want. The idea that he could fall from great heights and still survive. You know what I'm saying? Just flavor it a little bit. He's not necessarily gonna, fall slower. It's just he could take a fall from a greater length. Give him like a quarter damage from falls. You know what I'm saying? Call that feather fall. You know what I'm saying? But he could take a hit, he could take a fall. He's tough as nails. Like that's what Thor is. So all the bonuses that including the invulnerability to lightning, and thunder and all that stuff. Absolutely. And mind you, this could actually work for the regular Thor of Norse mythology, but of course I'm going with the comic book version. I mean, the Mighty Thor, Odin's son? Yeah, definitely. Have some fun with it. Make him an actual half mountain dwarf, half storm giant. Would I go with the 29 strength? I would go with the 29 strength as a minimum. Yeah, I'm not even joking around. Thor is ridiculously strong. I'm going to say something that's going to get a lot of people a little bit freaked out if you've only watched the movies and not read the comic books. Thor, technically, could be considered stronger than the Hulk. All right, the big thing about Thor is he's always holding back. One of my favorite individual comic books to read, I think it's volume 2 of the Mighty Thor. Actually, I think it's just called Thor. Either way, issue number 3, I think it is, 2 or 3. There's a big problem where first off, Thor just came back from life. The Ragnarok cycle is continuing again. All the gods are kind of coming back to life. Thor was pretty much the first. Comes back, and the Superhero Registration Act had just happened. That's the first Marvel superhuman civil war, and he brings Asgard to a place in Oklahoma. All right, and it's like, he's gonna make it float above the ground a little bit. Anyway, Iron Man shows up. He's like, listen, man, you gotta register. Sorry, that's just the rules. And Thor's like, I'm gonna need you to leave me alone. And he's like, hey, listen, dude, like, it is what it is, but the rules are the rules. You're in America, all right? You got to do this stuff. Otherwise, you got to pick up and you got to just straight leave. And he's like, I'm warning you to leave. He's like, oh, we're going to do it this way, tough guy? All right, that's the way it's got to be. He goes and he tries to blast him, starts doing his stupid little things. And Thor's just, like, tanking everything that he does. Like, he gets blown around a little bit, but he gets back up and he just charges after him and hits him with his lightning blast. And it's like, boom! It's actually more than Iron Man is able to absorb. Normally, he can absorb, you're going to look at Marvel FASERIP scores. He can absorb about 300 points of energy, including lightning, right? And then redirect it into a blast of equal power. Thor overloads his attack. So that unearthly weather control that Thor's supposed to have in the FASERIP game or in the Marvel Universe, no. It's Thor holding back. Thor goes up, he rips off his mask, like he breaks the armor, rips off the mask and looks him face to face and he says, I heard that you did this and this and this and that, and you killed Steve Rogers? You killed Captain America? Mother fathead. He's like, listen to me. You ever come anywhere near me again and you'll learn the difference between a man in an iron suit and a god of thunder. And I was like, oh, it was like the greatest comic book ever. Absolutely loved it. That was Thor being as BA needs to be. B.A. Baracus style, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. Anyway, Thor does always hold back. There was that conversation in there that Iron Man, Tony Stark had said. He's like, whoa, you've been working out there, huh, buddy? He's like, no, I'm just not holding back right now. He bodied Iron Man. Straight bodied him. Dude had not a chance, all right? So that's what Thor is. Thor is always holding back. Thor had actually said at one point, he's like, if I just simply displayed 30% of my power, you'd think that I was, going to destroy the world. That's who Thor is. So yeah, 29 strength, that's easy. That's easy. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I just did my Hulk, D&Dized Hulk recently, the previous week, the red and green Hulk. With Hulk, you can actually make it, with Hulk, he's strong to begin with, but his strength will increase the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. With Thor, the most important thing for a player to remember, or a DM who's going to guide Thor is about holding back. If he needs to unload on his full strength, I would give him pretty much whatever he needs. Remember, Thor is the only person in Norse mythology, also in comic books, who's been able to pick up the Midgard serpent. I mean, that's a feat and a half. You know what I'm saying? So just remember that. Thor can pretty much do whatever he wants to do. And if you're just talking about an avatar of Thor, that's one thing. But if you're talking about the actual Thor, all right, that's going to be a playable character. In my opinion, the most powerful playable character in the Marvel Universe role-playing game. I mean, think about that, dude. The Hulk is strong, but, he can't fly. You know what I'm saying? He is still just a human, who's, amped up and whatnot. When Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were creating Thor, Stan Lee's big thing that he said to Jack Kirby, he's like, yeah, we made the Hulk. He's, extremely powerful. He's stronger than the Thing. We never thought we'd make somebody stronger than the Thing. But here's the deal. We want to make somebody who's kind of like Superman. That's actually why they gave him the red cape. You know what I'm saying? And they're like, listen, let's actually make this guy a god so that he's just beyond everybody else's strength. Stan Lee's been asked many times. He's like, yeah, the only person stronger than the Hulk is Thor. He's a god. So think about that. Whatever you've read in the comics, whatever you've seen in the movie, Thor was originally meant to be stronger than Hulk. You have a different opinion? That's cool, man. We're good. But just remember what, Stan Lee had said. Anyway, yeah, give him all that good strength, and just maybe even consider it okay, this is your strength right now. Oh, you're getting really mad because he's got a berserker rage also, which is why, yes, you make him a berserker also, just like Green Hulk. You're going to make him a berserker. You're going to make him that barbarian, totem of the berserker. You're going to give him all that and just straight berserker. There's no reason for anything else. All right. He does have the weather control. Mjolnir is a focus for him. That's actually in the comic books also. Mjolnir is a focus for him, and Mjolnir is something else. And we're going to be talking about Mjolnir at the end of this video. But for all intents and purposes, don't be afraid to hold back on Thor. Dude, Doctor Strange is supposed to be able to do more damage technically than Thor. You know what I'm saying? Because he's the Sorcerer Supreme, for crying out loud. But he's also kind of a glass cannon. Oh, he's got great defenses as far as his Eldritch shields and all that stuff. But just being able to take whatever you throw at him, it's kind of hard to beat Thor in that regard. Just all that stuff. Like I was saying, Doctor Strange is a glass cannon. You get close enough, you can just take it out with a rock. You know what I'm saying? You ain't going to take Thor out with a rock. I don't care how big that rock is. So just keep that in mind. Thor is ridiculously powerful. In my opinion, the most powerful character you can play. Yes, more powerful than the Silver Surfer. With his hammer, with Mjolnir, he is more powerful than the Silver Surfer. Just putting it out there. All right. So let's get on to a couple of comic books really quick. There's actually not a whole lot of comic books that got put out this week, but there are a bunch of good ones. First off, You Are Deadpool, issue number 5 of 5. So all 5 of these, you can wait for the trade. If you didn't get the other earlier ones and you can't, that's fine. Wait for the trade paperback. But this is a choose your own adventure with Deadpool, and it's really fun. This is such a fun comic book. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 800. This is 80 pages of one continuous story. That's what I'm saying. It's 4 comic books in one for only $10 US. And this is the second from final issue of Dan Slott's run, dude. Him fighting against the Red Goblin. This is the Carnage symbiote and the Green Goblin merged. And it's crazy. It's crazy. A whole lot of crazy things happen here. A major character, listen to me what I said here. A major character dies in this comic book. Messed up, dude. It's messed up. That's a heavy freaking book. Man of Steel issue number 1. Brian Michael Bendis jumped ship and he went from Marvel over to DC, and this is his first real full-length comic book that he's writing, and it was a whole lot better than I expected it to be. Wow, we're talking like they just turned the Man of Steel into a modern day sci-fi classic. Just read it or check out my reviews over on Comic Book University to understand what I mean. Now, Warner Brothers and my cat's going crazy. Warner Brothers and DC Comics have teamed up. So we got Super Sons versus Dino Mutt and what's his name? Blue Falcon. You remember these from the old Warner Brothers days? I'm waiting for the Herculoids to come out. That's going to happen soon. But this is the second wave. The first wave was amazing. The second wave is pretty good too. Flash versus Speed Buggy. Just have some fun with it, guys. This is Barry Allen. This is Wally West version of the Flash going against Speed Buggy. We've got Black Lightning versus Hong Kong Phooey. It's fun, but I can't help but to think that Luke Cage would have been a better mix, a better partner for Hong Kong Phooey, #1 super guy, because Luke Cage's partner is Iron Fist. So, like, how perfect would that match have been? Anyway, this is still pretty good, having Black Lightning teamed up with Hong Kong Phooey. And finally, this is the variant cover, and I love this variant cover. Aquaman versus Jabberjaws. Yeah, I said it. It's actually happening. And this is a fun comic book, dude. I can't express how fun this comic is. You need to be reading this stuff. These are also classics. Also, just for the sake of conversation, if your local comic book store has this variant cover for Aquaman versus Jabberjaws, it's sold out online. So even if you're just looking for a hot investment, $5 US, you might be able to turn $20 off of this, I think, fairly easily. When covers sell out on comic books, dude, and that's what I do. I'm telling you all about this stuff. I did a couple of Alpha Flight characters. I did Master of the World. He's the original true recurring, I should say, villain for the Alpha Flight. And I did Marina. Most people don't have any idea who Marina is. Well, she's the fastest swimmer in the Marvel Universe. Go check that out. I did Explained in a Minute for those. I also did a conversation piece that spotlighted a story on the first 4 Alpha Flight issues, plus X-Men issue number 120, which was the first appearance of the Alpha Flight ever. So go ahead and check those out. Get a good understanding of who the Alpha Flight is. Who they are. Now, let's move on over here to the Monstrous Compendium. I still say the Monstrous Compendium. I told you that. Monster Manual. But also, I'm going to break into the DM's book, the Dungeon Master's Guide, for the very first time talking to you guys. I rarely ever open this up unless I'm actually planning a serious mission. And I'm looking at magical weapons in here. And guys, I think it was page 218. Is that what I said? Is that what I remember? I believe it is. What the heck is the name of this? We're going to be doing Mjolnir here. Yep, this is it. Page 218 in your Dungeon Master's Guide. On the top right-hand side of that left page, 218, Whelm. Whelm is a magical item close to an artifact level. You can start off making Mjolnir or Stormbreaker. They're both effectively the exact same thing. I know in the Infinity War movie, one was more powerful than the other. Yeah, no. They're both the exact same thing, for crying out loud, in the comic books. So, Whelm. You could start off using Whelm. Here it says it's a +3 attack. No. You're going to make this a +5. Okay, you're going to take Thor's regular damage. Also, I would consider making this, let's say, a 3d6 weapon. I think that's at the very least fair, plus his strength, which is going to give him, what, a +15 bonus or something like that? It's going to give him a big boost. You know what I'm saying? I wish there was back in the old days where you could specialize in weapons. I miss second edition sometimes. But thrown weapon. Okay. Here, thrown weapon, it says it's going to go 20 feet, 20 by 60. The first number has to be 100. Has to be 100. Thor can hurl Mjolnir with pretty good effectiveness. And 100, I think, is just about perfect for the range. As far as the second number, that number where you're at a disadvantage to hit, yeah, that's going to probably have to be closer to 500 at the very least. I wouldn't be disappointed if you made it 1,000 feet. I wouldn't even be disappointed if you made it essentially beyond, like infinite. What do you need it to go? Thor is able to hurl this thing so hard that when he catches the thong on the back, it hurls him and it allows him to fly. So you're going to give him the fly spell at will in the hammer. But also, he's done this thing where he'll throw the hammer really far just so that he can fight. Because if the hammer's by his side, it might instinctively jump into his hand as he's fighting someone. So when he wants to have a good battle with somebody, you know what I'm saying, he's going to throw the hammer and be like, it's just you and me now. You know what I'm saying? And he'll just trade punches with the person. So give him just, when I say be fair, what I mean is be reasonable in the confines of the actual battle. You could say he could throw it far enough that it'll be gone for this many rounds. You know what I'm saying? But he needs to have that option about him. And at the very least, if he does look like he's going to start to lose pretty soon, then by all means, that hammer suddenly returns. And yes, the hammer returns. That's one of the big things about Mjolnir. One of the coolest things about Mjolnir is that it returns. That was in Norse mythology. That's in the comic books. That's in the Dungeons and Dragons books. I don't know if there's actually Thor in one of the Dungeons and Dragons books anymore. I actually haven't seen him. But I remember him back in the second edition, and it... in the advanced second edition, it said that he has 100 points of lightning. I remember this, you know, I love that, that edition so much. But, it said it had 100 points of lightning damage it could do. It could do 1 point of damage up to 100 points of damage, but it only has 100 points of electricity, lightning damage inside of it. And then the next day until it, resumes. And again, this is the avatar of Thor. Yeah, no, he's got a lot more than that. He's got a lot more than that. I would say you give him that 100 points that he could just, like a lay on hands. You can do as much as you want, as little as you want, whatever you want. Lay on hands with lightning, but of course it can go as far as it wants to do. And yeah, give him the 100 points. But on top of that, you're also going to give him, you can keep the weather control on him, but in the hammer itself, in that mallet, you're also going to give lightning attack and, thunder wave. You're going to give, you can give him an earthquake if you want by him smacking the ground and whatnot. And you can give him pretty much anything that you want to that's thunder or electricity, thunder or lightning damage class related. That's who Thor is, dude. That's just what he does. But anything that's going to sound like something that he could do, you want to amp up that damage, as much as possible with him. But give him also the disadvantage of it's got a recharge. Something else I would also consider doing with him, and this is going to be, I don't know if it's going to be tricky because I haven't actually found this. I can close this now. I haven't actually found this in the 5e books. But does anybody remember Dragon Awe? If it's in one of the 5e books, by all means, please let me know. I actually didn't check the Monstrous Compendium, the second edition. I actually didn't check the Dragons section to see if Dragon Awe is actually in there or not. I can't actually remember. But, yeah, if it is, cool, just use that. Otherwise, give him Dragon Awe, especially with Mjolnir. When he's raising that up high, just give him the ability to call upon Dragon Awe the first time that you see him. If he chooses, he's got that ability to make his enemies cower. Remember, Thor is a god. The Avengers are used to seeing him and whatnot, but like when Odin shows up, Odin doesn't hold back. Odin doesn't hold back. So when Odin shows up, it's like, oh crap. You get that immediate, instinct that you need to bow. You take a knee and, bow your head and all that stuff, It's freaky. With Thor, he's always holding back. You could think of like Goku, you know, holding back his power levels, you know, and all of a sudden it's over 9,000 with Thor. Yeah, it's a lot more than that. I hope there are no Goku fans, DBZ fans who are going to be looking like, oh, wait a second now. Thor is a god, and his ability to just unleash and say, "E now!" You know what? Rather than giving it to him only in that first round, that's when he would usually use it, but he can also use it later on. I would give it to him as a once per encounter, you know what I'm saying? And then you can't use it again without a long rest, you know what I'm saying? If he wants to show his godly might and just bring his power level up to full without actually attacking, just showing, I want you to understand what I'm capable of doing to you, son, then give him that Dragon Awe as a once per encounter, with, you know, needs the 1 day to recharge, 1 day, you know, before he can do it again. Long rest. You know what I'm saying? But definitely that Dragon Awe at the very least, because wow, he does have that bit when he does that, you know, I say thee nay, and now, enough, you know, and now. That's some frightening crap, and it can make all of his enemies just like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. You know what I'm saying? Roll to pee your pants. Nope, failed my saving throw. I've just peed everywhere. In fact, I think I got some skid marks. I may have followed through. It's like that. Thor is frightening. If you're going to let somebody play Thor, I hope he's going against Bahamut or something like that, but make sure you actually give them the ability to play Thor proper. Anyway, that's going to be it. It doesn't need to be that big. Plus, I got a Star Wars game to get into. All right, guys. Been good talking to you guys. Yeah, see you next week. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.